Hey everyone, welcome. How you doing? How about that spread back there? Let's give AOL a big round of applause for the hospitality. It's hard for me to believe it's been 5 years since we found Modev and we have not done a meetup here. It's shameful, kind of. But I have done a number of partner events out here, a lot of hackathons, and we've been out here a lot, supported the Google user group conferences that have been out here. So we have been out here a lot, but we haven't done a Modev meetup till tonight. But I'm really I'm thankful to AOL, and I'm impressed with the hospitality and the content that we have for you guys tonight. So I'm excited about what we're going to be presenting. I've got just a couple of announcements. How many folks were at South by Southwest? Me and Jan? All right, there's another. All right, great. Spring break for the tech industry, right? Yeah, it was good. It was interesting, very busy. Of course, I missed the first day with the flight cancellation, and getting to Austin after your flight gets canceled the first day of South by is a pretty interesting excursion, maybe about a 15-hour one. But anyway, it was good to be down there. Our next big event that we have coming up is ModevUX. So you see it up here. We're in our third year. So what's been happening with Modev is, since late 2010 or sometime in 2011, when I decided to really turn this into an organization and a business, we decided we would commit to a conference series. So we do Modev East, we just did Modev Gov, we're doing ModevUX, we've done Modev Tablet, and we're going to be adding another conference on in the fall in the wearable space. And since then, since just starting a conference, great, kind of leveraging our local community to come and do talks and everything, I made a commitment to really kind of go as big as I can on the speakers and the content, while trying to keep the price as low and competitive as possible. And I think we've really kind of hit the crescendo here with ModevUX in our third year. Our speakers are fabulous. We've got several well-published experts in the field coming into DC to give workshops and talks, as well as a huge amount of folks from the local community as well, giving a whole array of really excellent talks, more than 35 hours of hands-on content. And the rates that we have, I think, are awesome. So with your Modev 20 or 50% discount code for MODEV, you're still sub $500 for the workshop and the conferences. So a 2-day event, which is like less than half of any competing event that we have out there. So definitely check that out, ModevUX, and you'll see that that top line. These folks are the top 2 lines. These people are just awesome speakers. It's going to be a great time, and would love to see you out there. So it's down at the Hilton McLean, May 19th, 20th. That's a Monday, Tuesday, and definitely looking forward to that. Next week, so a week from tonight, we finally have our 5-year anniversary bash that got canceled. It was supposed to be February 5th or something like that. Whenever that storm hit, February 12th. Whenever that major storm hit, that night was supposed to be our party. So we had to push it back to next week, March 19th. This is just going to be a lot of fun. So it's at Capital One's new space down in Tyson's Corner called Dig. And definitely check it out. Very cool space. We'll be doing some giveaways and like I said, just really kind of celebrating the fact that for 5 years we've been building something kind of unique here in Washington, D.C. that I think has been the model for the nation with regards to a meetup group. I don't think there are very many meetup groups that have spawned into full-blown communities with a conference series where we've been creating thought leaders, sharing information, in a kind of peer-to-peer, kind of grassroots fashion. So we get to kind of take the foot off the gas and have some fun, and hopefully we'll see you out there next week. But that's it for me. I want to turn the floor over to John and to AOL. He's going to give a presentation, and at the end of the presentation, we'll do Q&A, and we'll have some mics moving around the room. Just ask that we use the mics because we're recording, and it catches questions for the videos, makes them a lot higher quality. That said, let's give a big, huge round of applause for John from AOL.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Good evening. So we're going to give a little speech tonight about adaptive and responsive design techniques and how we use those here at AOL. My name is John Divney. I'm the tech director of the front-end engineering team in AOL membership. We support some of the core products that AOL has, including some of the different products and services that we have: AOL Core Client, AIM, Mail, and Identity. We support marketing acquisition pages, landing pages, microsites, anything along those lines to acquire members. I worked at AOL for 12 and a half years, from 95 to 2007, and then I left for a little while, moved up to New York, had a good time up there, and then didn't like New York City, so I decided to move back to Ashburn. It's awesome. My wife back here, you can thank her for that. So now I live in Ashburn, so I have a really short commute. When I was in New York, I started my own company doing website development on Drupal, doing a lot of front-end and back-end work. I had a big difference in types of clients, small clients, large clients, and I was able to sort of get experience doing most of those things. And I'm going to hold this because I don't think I keep moving away from it. I was probably better at the back-end side of things, but the front-end kind of excited me more, and I think it's where a lot more of the cool energy is. I mean, the back-end it's got to be there and it's got to function, but the front-end is where all the users are, and it's, I think, where all the fun is. I've been back here for a couple of years. I started back at AOL in August last summer, and I've been doing the front-end engineering stuff for the last 7 or 8 months now. I have pictures of me at Renfest a long time ago down in Maryland. Just a quick question, what kind of people do we have here in the audience tonight? Are people familiar with adaptive and responsive techniques? By show of hands, like people get what that is? Okay, pretty much almost a lot of people. Is this new to anybody? Okay, all right, cool. Okay, so a little backstory about AOL before I get into things. AOL, the then, obviously, I'm sure everyone in here at some point got 1 or 100 CD-ROMs with some number of hours free. With a lot of different cool designs. You connected those into your computer. You dialed up with one of those nice little modems there. You connected in, and then oh boy, there was the internet. And I was able to be part of a team here at AOL that put a lot of those people online, and it was a really exciting time, starting in '95 in the call center they had in Tucson, and moving my way here to their headquarters, and being part of the explosive growth that was AOL at the time. It was a very good vantage point on the internet exploding, even if it was maybe at some point later the internet with trading wheels. It definitely exposed it to a lot of people, and it was very cool to be part of that. Once you got online, you were able to explore all around. The You've Got Mail, when you signed on, became iconic. It became the sort of blinky red light on an answering machine. That's what you wanted to hear. People signed on all the time just to hear those things. At our peak, we had over 30 million paying customers and 100 million more using AIM, ICQ, and a lot of our other properties. So it was a very exciting time. Fast forward to now, the AOL dial-up days are mostly gone. We still have a few people connecting over dial-up, but it's a very small percentage. And many of those people are rural, where there's no broadband or high-speed access. They're traveling, so that we still provide that access. But the new AOL, we provide a bunch of products and services to our members that, including dial-up, but things like safety and security products, entertainment products, AIM, those kind of things. I'll get into a little bit of that in a little bit here. Much of our audience, though, is a maturing audience. We have a lot of users that have been comfortable with AOL for a long time and have been using it, and they like things the way they are. They're not so comfortable with change, and when we change things up to take advantage of the new shiny technologies, we run into some pushback. Hey, that's not working the way it is. Where's that button? That was supposed to be there. That's where it always is. So it kind of presents some design and dev challenges for us as we're trying to figure out what to do. We have other users, newer users, that are very engaged in our products and take advantage of things across the newer devices and come at us from a different perspective. So we need to reach both of those people, and sometimes doing that is a challenge. I think most of the folks here are probably in that second demographic. Okay, so first a little bit of background on responsive and adaptive. The term responsive design was coined by Ethan Marcotte in his book Responsive Design, which is basically describing fluid grids, fluid images and media using media queries. Excuse me. Responsive design basically puts most of the work on the client side. So user requests a website, we push down HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the client makes some decisions using media queries to determine what to show. If I'm at X dimensions, I'm going to get A content. If I'm at Y and X dimensions, I'm going to get B content, etc. Basically, this allows us to kind of show what, it's basically the same content, but we're showing it in sort of a few different presentation ways. Typically, that's done with about 3 breakpoints or media queries. One for mobile phone type things, one for tablets, and then one for desktop. But as we've seen newer devices come on the scene, the breakpoints will get even larger. You'll have TVs and larger breakpoints, so you might want to do things for them. And then you have tablets now that are just as good as desktops, so you want to show things that way. So basically, we use those to kind of to show different things. Adaptive design was first. Oh, hold on one second. Sorry, I shouldn't be using that. There we go. Adaptive design basically is more. It's just really another term for regressive enhancement, where web design or responsive design is probably a part of that. We make the decisions are on the server end of things. So before we send any content down the pipes, we're making a determination about what your device is and what it can support, and then sending down only that markup or JavaScript and CSS, so that you get a very sort of customized device. At AOL, we use a combination of both of these, depending on the business requirements for the sites that we build. So in some cases, it's a landing page. We'll just maybe do something responsive. And something maybe more like on the commerce side, we'll be a lot more smart. We'll be adaptive in how we deliver, and then inside of that, we'll be responsive, so that if someone's portrait or landscape, they can get the correct experience. There are valid reasons, I think, for both approaches, and it comes down to what the business needs are. As Batman said here, Robin got slapped because the site wasn't responsive. But then you have the adapt camp, adapt. One of the benefits of being responsive is that the tech teams can maintain sort of one code. There's one code base. It just gets responsive as things go, as the device size shrinks. So that makes it a little bit easier to maintain over time. You're not always updating content. You don't have to update links. Things can be a little bit simpler to manage that way. And I think it's best to do that when you're starting fresh. You have a brand new site, or you just need to put something up quickly, but also that's mobile friendly. It's a good approach to take. Adaptive design, I think, is best suited for where you want to take advantage of more modern features that the devices support. Things such as touch functionality. So if you want to be able to swipe through a gallery, geolocation, use my location, canvas elements to support HTML5 browsers. I think when the experience has to be differentiated in a way that the device supports, it's best to be adaptive there. You also have the benefit of sending less content down the pipes because you're really only sending down what's needed. And for mobile devices, where the speed of the device is, there's a wide range of the speeds there. You have, especially if you look at the world, you really want to be thoughtful about what you're sending down. And so those types of things I think are important. But I think bottom line, both of these concepts are useful, and even sometimes with adaptive, you could be adaptive and then be responsive inside of that. Here at AOL, conversion and adoption of our products is the primary goal. So we always have to do what's best to support those goals. So the number one thing I always suggest, check the site's data, your analytics that you have, and use that as one of your leading indicators to figure out what you're going to build. So now I'm going to just talk about some of the sites that we've built here in the membership group over the last few months that get to some of the reasons we've picked adaptive, responsive, or both. The first thing is MVP, or Member Value Program. These are some of the products and services that AOL offers to our members that are free with your membership. Things like AARP, Data Mask, Life360, AfterSteps, Private Wi-Fi, and a bunch more. The MVP program was introduced in 2011 as a way to provide additional value to our members at no additional cost. By partnering with some best-in-class curated brands, we've successfully been able to drive millions of product activations since we launched. But last year, at the end of last year, was the first year that we started to introduce mobile products. So from an acquisition perspective, we were really starting to need mobile experiences for those customers. So basically, it was build these acquisition pages, build them responsively or mobile friendly, and get them ready so that people could sign up for these products on their devices and or on their desktops. So we built out a series of landing pages using the responsive design approach. Here are some screenshots of one of the products, Life 360. On the left is the desktop experience. The middle is the tablet, and then the right there is the mobile view. Basically, using media queries, we're hiding some images, taking out some of the content, changing some of the way things work, just to make it a little bit easier experience, but also, make it possible to sign up. To build out these pages, we chose Zerb's foundation framework as the responsive framework to build out those pages. They have a great reputation, and they were a really good fit for this project. By choosing Zerb, we were able to also cut down on the QA effort as it related to the mobile experience. Much of their stuff was already QA'd and fully tested on some of the mobile devices, so we still tested them on all of those, of course, but we didn't have to deal with finding bugs and things like that on those devices. Or they were more about how our experience worked in them than actually the technology working. Millions of people use these products, so having a solid foundation was a very important goal. The next product is something called Gather. Basically, Gather is a new product that AOL's offered that is a new way to buy and use products. We bundle and save on the best brands in one place. And we basically have created an experience where you can, based on entertainment, shopping, and product offerings, we can offer a bunch of different products in a bundled way to save you money versus buying those things individually. So subscriptions, things like Pandora One, Consumer Reports Equifax, or credits, iTunes, Fandango, and Groupon, and exclusive offers like Priceline, ADT, and Overstock.com. For Gather, we chose a combination approach. We have adaptive and responsiveness going on. We have some of the products that are mobile-specific products. So as users hit these sites on our mobile devices, some of those products are pushed a little bit higher than some of the desktop products. Depending on when someone comes to the site, we deliver that right thing. So we found that mobile users are using the products or the site to redeem offers. So if you have an iTunes gift card, you come in, every month you get your new iTunes gift card, you redeem it through your mobile phone. But when you're browsing around to put together the packages that you want or buy them, you're doing that through your desktop. We've been very lucky with some free promotion through some of the deal sites out there, and Gather's gotten some pretty good legs. So the design approach that we've taken has proven pretty successful. I encourage you to take a look at it and sign up. They have a lot of good products and stuff. There's definitely some really good deals there to have. So I encourage you to check it out. Gather.com. Gather.com. This is more light. Sorry about that. The next site is called Discover AOL. It's a site that we have that allows people to learn about all the different products and services that AOL has. Including, AOL has a lot, and I think a lot of people don't know some about what we do. In addition to having this sort of legacy business, if you will, we own a lot of big, huge brands out there: Huffington Post, TechCrunch, Engadget, Style Me Pretty, Kitchen Daily, and others. And Discover is kind of like a place to kind of get that sort of A to Z listing. And as you can see from the screenshot here, this is the current site. It's kind of old. It's pretty exciting. It's not tables, but it's pretty good. So one of the goals with we're in the process of building the site out now is to basically have a place that we can have our executives send people to from a press perspective. Tim Armstrong, our CEO, is on MSNBC, can be like, go to the AOL, check out all the different brands and services that we have. Our Variana Huffington's at Davos and wants to get people to learn about the new HuffPost country. This is a place that she could send them to and people could learn about that stuff. We basically have a bunch of different users coming here. A lot of our existing members come here to kind of find their way to some of the things that we have, and then a lot of new people come here to find out about stuff. And over the years, this site has built up a ton of SEO juice for us. There's a lot of links here, so this is a good place for us to use as a launching pad for a lot of our products and services. So we, can you see that? Yeah. Sorry, that's a little small, but basically this is just kind of all the different products and services and brands that we have. In the middle, you have AOL, you have AOL, advertising and networks, which are parts of our business, and then the products categories, and then the brands that fit into those categories. So we have a lot of content that we're trying to get people to see, but it's difficult to kind of present that in a cool way. So we've partnered with an agency down in Arlington, Papa's Group, and with some of our own designers here at AOL, and kind of came up with a bunch of different ideas and took the best of both of some of those ideas and put them together to build this site. And this is the homepage of the new site. Above where we are here, this is like a parallax view. Above this, we have a video that plays, but I couldn't capture that here, I just didn't. And then as you scroll, you get different parallax images. As you see there, those little images of the brands, that's a carousel, and then you can jump through. This is also built with Zerb's Foundation. We have some custom JavaScript that was built to handle some of the events and make sure that everything works really well. And there's some client-side decisions that we make, but most of this is responsive as well. This site, though, gets a ton of traffic. So we've also had to make sure it scales pretty well. And AOL has I guess it's a custom CMS called AMP that we're using to leverage the scalability of the sort of content database so that marketers and brand owners can go in and change out the logo if they want, or the short description, the links to some of their social thing and whatnot that we display. And the website itself basically pulls out, we have a cron job that runs, goes and picks up content, a JSON object, and then the site builds the content in real time with that object. So we're able to scale this pretty large without a lot of code on the server side. And this gets, like I say, it gets a ton of traffic, so it's gotta be fast. Here we have one of the category pages. So inside of the Living Well category, for example, here, you'll have all the different brands and products that represent living well, and then subcategories inside of there that you can filter out, and then those filters will sort of narrow down the search. We have embedded video, parallax, there's carousels, and then we've written some of our own custom code to kind of make some of these we call them bricks, work really well and are very responsive. One of our developers has done a really great job on this. Okay. And then the last site I'm going to talk about is AOL My Benefits. And what this is, so all those benefits I was telling you about before, this is kind of like the place you go to see where those are. Are they in an active state? Are they in an inactive state? How do I activate them and whatnot? This is a screenshot of the current site, and we're right now in the process of building this out to make it mobile friendly and whatnot. In this particular product, we're going to be kind of heavy on the adaptive side, but then with some responsiveness inside of that. There's a lot of different decisions that we want to make and have the site work in certain ways. So if you look at this is a screenshot of kind of what we're thinking about going forward. We're going to have you have active and inactive and then always on type products. But then as you filter down into some of the, let me get here, the mobile views, this is the mobile view. You have the closed drawers on the left and the open on the right. As people show up here, we're going to want to push mobile, I think, to the top of the list because we're detecting that's where they're coming from. But at the same time, we don't want to hide the desktop activations and whatnot from people because we want them to be able to see all those products. Perhaps they're just browsing on their tablet and they're not really, that's not where they use most of the products that we have. So we'll give them the ability to interact with those products and, faux start the activation so that they can, we could then, they've kind of expressed an interest in this desktop product even though they're on a tablet, put them into a campaign, send them an email in a couple of days, or if we see them sign on to our client or AOL.com, say, hey, we've seen you do this, you can take this step real quick and activate that product. So there will be a good amount of, like I say, adaptive going on to make this page draw the right way. To adapt or not to adapt. As I hopefully have shown here, there are, I think, many reasons and many things to consider when you're building your websites out these days. And I don't think everything is kind of black or white. You have to look at data, you have to look at the business requirements, your timing of how long you have to build it. And you need to use all these things to build out what you need. You need to leverage technologies to solve this goal, not really be sort of tech purity about things and really, oh, we need to use the newest, coolest thing. I think a lot of times we want to do that as developers, but we need to look at that. If some of your audience, or a good chunk of your audience, whatever, if it's 5% or 20%, is coming at you from Internet Explorer 8, you got to sort them out. You can't just go FIE8. That's much most of us want to do. You have to take care of them. And so you have to be thoughtful about that. One of the challenges we've run into with Foundation is that Foundation doesn't support IE8. So we've been able to figure out polyfills and ways to get it to work. It's not perfect, but it looks all right. Everything functions. There's no errors. There's no JavaScript errors. So people are able to use it. And I think that's a valid reason you can push back on a business. Like, it works. It functions. It just might not be as perfect as it is in Chrome or on iPad or something like that. So I think one of the things that, from my perspective, that I like to look is, my primary goal is to find out what exactly the business is trying to accomplish. The first thing they're always going to tell you is that they want it tomorrow, or even earlier. And you need to get them to express that in a way that isn't, well, just tell me what you can do. I like to push back on that and say, tell me what you want. Let me know what your vision is for building out the site, so that I can think about that as I build things. Because I'm most likely going to deliver this in phases anyway, so the more I know about what the end goal is, the smarter I can be about building it from that point. There's a lot of things that go into putting these sites together, and we don't want to get into a place where I'm building code for release on April 1st, and then I'm throwing all that away for the May release. I want to be iterative about things and smart. We might start with a responsive build to get something out the door, and then we might make it more adaptive as we move on and see sort of business needs change. One of the things that we noticed with the Data Mass mobile product was, we built it responsive. It was really just marketing copy. But then we found some users had their IE zoomed in really far for their fonts. So they were getting the responsive version, and they weren't. So we had to make some. Oh, okay. Well, maybe we got to make a couple things adaptive for these folks, because that's how some of our users are looking at things zoomed in. But I think then the bottom line here is the conversion ban is the key. Like, we have to get people to convert on our product, and we have to provide compelling experiences for people on both mobile devices, iPhones, desktop experiences, televisions, microwaves, whatever. We have to make sure that what we build is compelling and works for everyone across all these devices, and that if people aren't going to be able to convert to a paying customer or an engaged customer, we failed at doing our job. So I think that's the number one goal you have to do. You have to make things work so that users like it and use it and succeed with it. I went a little faster than I thought. So I got some contact information up here. I don't have cards. But my email's up there. I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions or follow up or whatnot about anything. Happy to answer any questions. And then if folks have questions here now, I'm also happy to answer them as well. Maybe.
Let's use this opportunity. Right back where we at? Okay, we'll go here first. No, back there. State your name, please.
Hi, I'm Jamal. My question is how you guys handle quality assurance in regards to people who have alternative needs, such as they can't interface with the website in the regular way. So if they're using a screen reader, if they're using some type of assistive technology device, at what point do you say, okay, we can't support this? Or let's say if you have to be 501 compliant, like if you're working with the government, you have to have certain things checked out. At what point do you say we should focus on this or not make it a priority?
Right, so I think, first off, I'd say we definitely need to make it a priority. I think, if I get where I think you're going, like, we'll say it's a priority, right, and then it won't be. We try to build things as accessible as we can out the door, just from the baseline. We then go through, and we have a group here at AOL, and we're fortunate enough to have that kind of does a review, and they're a little busy, so they don't review everything, but that we can run some of our sites through as we're working on and make them accessible and make sure that we are compliant. So it's something that is very important to us and that we try to do as best we can. And if we have a very good mechanism for our customers and our internal people as well to reach out and find us for who built this site or who built that site, when they notice things like that. So it makes getting notified about that pretty simple, so that we can make the fix and get it fixed. Yeah.
Yeah, could you speak a little bit more to the marketing you're doing for your AOL desktop? I know that's not exactly mobile, but it's like the first time hearing about it. I'm just curious about it. If you have like, if you're working on agreements with desktop or laptop manufacturers to get as a preload, or what you're doing to really push that out there.
I think most of that stuff is in the past. We used to have OEM agreements with everyone. We were on every PC. We even had an AOL PC, I think, through Tiger Direct at one point, which was, was kind of like an AOL computer. I don't know 100%, but I don't think we do that as much anymore. Most of that stuff is, people already have the software. We provided an option to download it. We don't mail ROMs anymore. I mean, if you call up at the call center, I think you can get one mailed to you. But it's not something that we do really. I mean, we like people using the client, and we want them to, but we want to be able to use our products and services on any device that they're on. There's definitely some things about AOL that are better in the client, but most of the client today is web anyway. It's not the sort of old legacy infrastructure, which we called FDO, that was great over dial-up, but doesn't really add that much value over high speed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Guess I'm just getting a little nostalgic.
I have a ton of those ROMs on my desk, so I feel the nostalgia.
John, from the responsive site development kind of greenfield application, why Zerb over Bootstrap?
So we looked at both, and we looked at a couple others out there, and even thinking about doing something custom. In some of the previous sites I worked on, I had experience with Zerb. Some of the guys on my team did, and we kind of just got a meeting a couple times, had a couple meetings, talked about it, read some blog posts about it, and I think at the time when we made the decision, Zerb was kind of what some people were leaning toward. I think Bootstrap 3 maybe just had come out, which was kind of getting more online. I think it was where Foundation was, so we decided to go with Foundation. They're a great company. They have a lot of great products. We just felt that it was a good fit for us.
All right, so this is one question in 15 parts.
I'm going to need help on the next part.
Sure. With technology moving at the speed of sound, with a new device coming out every 3 months, 6 months, a new version of Android, new version of iOS, adaptive versus responsive when you guys are doing development, which one is quicker to roll out to a new version, and how do you guys handle the devices just coming out of an onslaught?
Right. So it's a good question. I think we look at. I think that's one of the things I was talking about. The data. You really need to, whether it's Google Analytics or Omniture or whatnot, you need to see what the type of traffic is coming. And if you're upgrading or making a new version of an existing site, you can see what the existing traffic that's coming to you is, and kind of make some decisions there. If it's something brand new, try to find something close that maybe you have that you can look at to kind of get a read on it. I think with responsive, it's a little easier because you're really just looking at breakpoints and not the devices so much. One of the things that we use here at AOL is, I think it's called Raffle, which is like an API to give us the browser information, so we can kind of basically pass over the user agent, get the data that we need, and then make some decisions on that for the adaptive side. So it's tough. When you look at Android, 2 devices, they behave a little differently. The 4X devices behave a lot smarter. So you need to look at the data, and then, I think what we kind of do here is we look and say, hey, well, these are the devices that are coming in. We are seeing some traffic, but it's 1 or 2%, so it's not significant. So maybe that's a P2 bug, and you get it sorted, but you don't get it sorted to release. And you look at that, and you also look at it. Does it break the site? Does it break the functionality, or is it like text wraps weird or something like that? And if it's more on the cosmetic side, maybe then it's even a P3 bug.
Just a quick question on the adaptive design. So, can you share us the framework, anything that you developed on the back end to do this adaptive data? Because you seem to have all these services. I'm assuming you have some framework on the back end that you guys use, or is it custom for pretty much everything that you build?
I mean, there's some back-end frameworks. I think some of it is custom though. I think once we, as much as possible, I think we like to use frameworks. But I think sometimes with the scale, and then sometimes the way the business needs it, we kind of start with, try to use something open, and then maybe fork it.
Can you share
Can you share like what you guys use right now for like? one
So
of the
like, so for
services?
Gather, for instance, we're using Backbone to do a lot of the basic interaction between, once we get the site down, what we're gonna show, and then that. So is that kind of what you're getting at, or?
Yeah, I mean,
Like some of the apps are Java, some of the apps are PHP, depends on the need.
Because when you say adaptive, you include and exclude content sort of stuff apart from saying like for this particular
Right.
thing. So I was hoping that you have some kind of a template engine going on there, or is it something else that you have in the backend that helps you sort of
Yeah, well, so we use some of the, like I say, like Workflow or whatnot to figure out what the device is that's reaching us, and then we build out either some custom templates, use jQuery template or whatever it is, to then show down the right content.
Thanks.
Yeah, let's assume that you just nailed responsive and you're looking for the next challenge in adaptive. What would be the only thing that you would start at with adopting adaptive?
I don't, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
So let's assume that you nailed responsive, you did well, and you're looking to adopt adaptive. What would be the only thing that comes to your mind on top of the list? What would you do first?
To do something adaptive? Yeah, first thing I would look at is the data. Who's coming, like what devices are coming out, so you know, do you need to support 20 devices, or do you need to support whatever that kind of traffic looks like. And then find some technologies that you can use to get you that information to make those decisions. Something like browser detection and things like that, my perspective is that should be something you write. That should be an API or a web service that you use.
Thank you.
Comment?
My question is about the website developers when they make a decision to have a subset of the functionality available on mobile devices versus everything that they have on desktop. What camp do you prefer? Do you think a website developer should decide on the basis of its user that what should go on mobile versus everything should go on mobile, or what's your opinion on that topic?
I mean, I think the developer should be part of the equation, part of the answer. I think it comes down to what the business need is, though, and what the objective of that site is. If the developer, I think, has the technical chops and the knowledge to help inform and educate the business person to make the decision, but I kind of think at the end of the day, it's a business decision of what that should be. And now, I think that probably applies to bigger type decisions. Once you're in the weeds coding, like if it's a tiny little link or an icon or something like that, I think that might be you could make that a developer decision. Although, as a developer, I want to be told what I'm building so that I don't have to change it later.
So as a follow-up question, of all the properties that you shown, were there any that were a subset of the functionality as compared to desktop?
So the Gather site is a little bit different when you're on tablet or mobile, and the My Benefit site that we're working on now will be that way as well.
Another question is using content management system as a backend for adaptiveness. Have you considered any approach like that where the content is managed through the content management system but yet delivered as adaptive?
Yeah, correct. So on the Discover AOL site, all the content and brands and products are in a content management system. For Gather, we're using the Magento e-commerce engine to store all the product attributes and data. And then even inside of there, we're returning little JavaScript snippets or whatnot that the front end can then use to do the right thing. But yeah, as much as possible, for things that the business is going to want to change and frequently, make sure that it's in a way that there's not an install to have to make that change.
Back-end unit tests are pretty easy, and front-end not so much. Especially when you get into adaptive and responsive. What would you say your strategies are in front-end unit testing, and what tools and applications you guys use to do it?
Right. It's a good question because you're right. It's a difficult thing. We're right now it's a good amount of manualness, but we're looking at Sauce Labs, Selenium to do some of that front-end stuff. And trying to get our heads around how to automate as much of that as possible. Yeah. It's a challenge because with the number of devices that are out there, it's difficult to test them all in any type of way if you want to release anything, and especially if you change something. Yeah.
Any more questions? All right, well, let's give it up for John.
Thank you.
So we are finishing a little bit early. I kind of like to do something fun. If anybody has an app that they've released recently that you want to show off, anybody have an app that you want to demo or anything you want to demo? Love to see a couple demos. Got one here? All right, what kind of device you on?
It's not an app, it's something that we can emulate from within the browser to see how automatically.
Can you demo up here?
Yeah.
What kind of device?
Just a Wi-Fi. I need Wi-Fi. I can show it on desktop inside an emulator.
Okay, great. Yeah, you're good. Just want you to use his
Safari good or do you need Chrome? Chrome is better.
Sorry.
All right, you remembered your password. Anyone else? Anyone else have a demo? We'll maybe do one more after this. Anyone got an app? Anything new? Want to show your prototype? Oh, you don't have it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone? Bueller?
We can show up Gather.
Show what?
We can show up Gather.
Gather?
Product, yeah.
Yeah, love to see it.
That's not sure.
Yeah, so after that, we'll do that.
Yeah,
And
sign
then
up. Already have it
so
now.
we'll see this demo, then we'll see Gather, and then we'll wrap up. And we'll network and eat some more, because there's a lot of food. You guys haven't eaten enough yet.
So how am I going to do this? Are you going to do that? It's the story of my life.
I got it. Go ahead and describe what it is.
Sure. So basically what you're seeing is the automation engine that takes existing websites and it does an auto adoption for different mobile devices. So what you're seeing is a website that got transformed automatically through this engine. So the desktop site looks like this. Basically, it's a site that provides tips on green energy, how to save electricity, and when this website was automatically converted into a mobile website through this automation engine, wherein the content gets automatically transformed as well as digitized into touch-friendly interface, as you can see here, without writing any code at all. So that's the automation engine, and as a part of the adoption, it also implements a lot of best practices in terms of how to make the user experience easy on devices, to ensure that a lot of content doesn't overwhelm the entire screen when the user is not interested in seeing everything for that particular section. So it also has content recognition engine built into this adoption layer that will make the usage of the content more friendly for the user. So the other devices that we talked about, which are not necessarily smartphones and other, that can also be supported by just, let's say, I will display a presentation that shows as if somebody is looking at it from a small feature phone device. wherein they don't have a lot of real estate. So all of that content is now minimized into smaller segments. And then if they are interested in a specific content, they can just click it, and this is in real time brought over from the server through JSON to use the bandwidth and everything that might be limited on those devices, as well as the computing power on those devices. So all you're seeing here is a real-time adoption of that content, wherein I'm demonstrating as if it's a feature phone device with a very small amount of computing power or real estate. So all they get is a small version of the page, and then in real time they can expand and get more content from the server. And all of this is done with zero line of code written by a programmer. It's all built into this automation engine that I'm calling as Ubico. That stands for Web and Ubiquity combined together to bring the web's interoperability onto the ubiquity of mobile devices.
That's great. Where are you at in product lifecycle? Is this a live product yet?
We are in the early beta.
Early beta?
And there are other customization features also available. So we'll quickly demonstrate some of that. Let's say if I go back to the other theme, everything that you see is auto-generated. It picked up and created sliders based on the rich media that it saw on your site. It aggregates all the navigations that you see, that it sees on the site in an automation way. It also adds all these widgets for click-to-call that are essentially useful for users when they are coming on these devices. And at the same time, you can change all these themes, customize the logo and sliders, everything in real time, including picking up what kind of images you want. So the customization features are also built into the SaaS-based or the cloud tool.
Great. Any questions, anyone? Oh.
So my question is, can we try your website from outside right now?
Yeah. When I was here, I did one of that for the person over there, and you can try as long as the site allows anonymous crawling. I should be able to do it. So I'll take the risk and try it. Yeah.
Okay. You want to try?
Sorry?
Let's try usspending.gov. Is it not responsive?
Can you spell it?
Yes. usspending.gov. USAspending.gov. USA. USA spending.
Is it right?
No, they got the S. USA spending.
Oh, sorry.
Basically, this style now.
Could be a big site.
Let's go. Second box.
Done. All the navigation is here. So I'll go to some of the pages. Let's see the home page.
But you're still on the feature phone there, correct? Or are you on the smartphone?
I'm on a smartphone right now. I can demonstrate the feature phone.
No. Stay on the smartphone.
So it understood the logo, it understood all the navigation, it created a mobile version for that. It also understands different parts of the page, and you can, it's a fully functional thing, so you can,
But all those pieces, like the exclamation point that was up at the beginning, you can go in and fix that just in the menu there, right?
correct. So now this is other interesting aspect of it, that not only does it understand the content, it can digitize it without writing a single line of code. Which is the touch friendliness that we talk about, that is missed when we do responsive design. Being able to swipe across the screen and all that.
I don't know. I'm impressed. Give him a hand. That was Gutsy doing a live question. Live demo. Yeah, please.
No, I don't know. I thought there was something to do a live demo. That sucks. And now, a question for you. So I saw that it rendered the site, loaded it in advance. How would this be something that runs frequently? So any changes to the site are captured?
Yeah, so it depends on the kind of dynamic nature you have on the content. That is a question we ask during the transformation. So depending on whether it changes occasionally or frequently, you can hook into what we call as a web service or transformation that does a real-time transformation for every user request versus cron job based versus cached once in a lifetime whenever you want. So all those capabilities are there. It also has since it has a content recognition engine, you can also load the content that is not managed by content management systems into Drupal, Joomla, or any of the CMS system, so that you can then manage your transformation from CMS as well. So it can bring in content in an intelligent way.
Okay. All right. Ready? Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks again.
And you have an adapter? I just plug in the phone?
We need a. Is that the?
Lightning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here comes. The adapter's on its way. Tony, the adapter king.
There.
Here comes.
There we go. All right.
Let's give it up for Gail House.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, so as John mentioned, he talks about Gather. So since we're doing demos, I figured I'd just show an example of Gather without the E, obviously. Can't show the comparison, but the general idea is that we curate a variety of services, whether it's gift cards or third-party products and services. You pay one monthly fee, you can choose the fee that you want, and then you get that on a monthly basis, so you'd be paying less, and you'd be paying if you bought all of them together. From a mobile perspective, as we mentioned, you have the design here. It is adaptive, so the version you see on a desktop browser or a tablet is slightly different. You have it. I having Safari issues. You have the ability to navigate through and explore what options you have. And if you do have an account, John mentioned that for most people, they may peruse, and you can buy if you have the iPhone. But a lot of people do tend, based on our data, to buy online or buy on the desktop. but you can redeem. And I don't think I have anything that I can redeem that I haven't already, but I'll show you how it basically works. So my Gather package includes Pandora One, Fandango, which is a $10 gift card every month for Fandango, ABC Mouse, because I'm a dad and I like to let my kids play on the computer while I'm sitting with them. And also I have Priceline iTunes code. And so what happens is every month you'll get a code. Here it's reminding me that you can tap to redeem. What it will do is it will take you to the iTunes store, apply the most recent code. All you need to do is every month you sign in, you check to see what you have, you apply that code, you get the $10. You can send it to mobile, if I click appropriately. Well, it'll send a text to you, so you can get that code and you can apply it yourself. You also have the ability, let me X this out, to redeem it live. Now there is a little yield sign that's sitting there. That's a warning because there's a challenge right now that Apple is aware of, so it's hard to redeem it in this case. Actually, I should have read that before I demoed it, which is attention iOS 7 users. I'm an iOS 7 user. But you can also send to email, so you can email it to yourself, take that and apply that into iTunes. From a package perspective, these do allow you to explore via the menu, so you can see what kind of pre-bundled. You have two different options here. You can do a pre-bundled package, packages that we put together that we think make a lot of sense, but you also have the ability to select your own. Some of the ones that we have are night in. You'll see here $15 a month, you get Domino's Pizza, you get Amazon Instant Video, you can't read exchanges, you get Shop Runner, and you also get an Amazon gift card. The value would be $35 a month. And you have a variety of packages that we've already created. They go from for shopping, movies, to protection, show like safety first, and also for kids, playroom, and then man cave. And then of course you can bundle your own. And all this again is adaptive. You go to tablet, you see a slightly different experience with the same features. You go onto the desktop, you see a variety of features. And here you can select the packages that you want. So you're able to create your own package that you would want. You pay per month. Very similar to like Dollar Shave Club or Trunk Club, where you would pay a monthly fee, you get these services. Right, here's like I have Starbucks. Probably should have created that package before. I would use that card very often. We have Target, Toys R Us, etc.
So what's the monthly?
It actually depends, but depending on what you throw in, you can create your own package starting at $20 a month.
It starts at $20.
It starts at $20 a month. There are some pre-bundled packages that we've put together that can be a little bit lower than that, $15 a month. You saw the first one that was on there. And they go up, they can be up to around $70 a month, but at that value you'll get $150+ worth of goods and services per month that you can get. And of course, it's because of economies of scale.
Right. All right, any questions for Gil? Gather.
I know it was a little salesy, but I figured I brought the food, so hey.
Hey, no, it's cool. I didn't know about it.
There's a question.
We have one question here.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Gil, I'm sorry, this might sound like a trolling question, but this is pretty cool. How come I haven't heard of it? I mean, I would have saved some money.
But now you've heard it. You have heard of it now. Yeah. So we're still rolling it out. The product actually went live officially-ish. I don't know where our finance team is on capitalization. Officially, it went live, right? The beginning of this year. So we've only been live for a few months. We've been in beta for about 5 or 6 months. The team will keep me honest here. So it's really going to roll out. We're in the process now of trying different markets, trying different products, and also launching, adding new products into the mix. And that's really why.
So it's a deals app, but the model is different in that it's a subscription model.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. You got it. Jamal.
Oh, sorry, Timber.
What's your target demographic for this app, and have you hit it? And if you haven't hit it, have you had to adjust to meet the unexpected demographic that's appeared?
Yeah, really good question. The demographic that we anticipated going live, we had to pivot a little bit as we went. There are a few, I went back to this page here because there's a few different demographics that we're targeting. And I think you have to look at it from 2 different perspectives, which was a learning for us. The first is, what is the audience? Is it like 18 through 25 gamer, or is it the household CEO for safety, that sort of thing? And we do have that vector that we look at, and that was one. The other we discovered is deal seekers, and there's a variety of people that are looking for, how do I save $5, $6 constantly? sites like Slick Deals and Coupons.com, et cetera, was a different audience that we had thought about, but we really didn't anticipate to be as active, and they have been. So what we've had to do is really adapt our offers to have both packages like this, but also promo codes and a variety of other types of deals that we can advertise to those demographics, because that's what entices them.
Follow-up question, geographically, where would you say the majority of the traffic is coming from? Is it just, what, North America now, or?
We're in North America today. I do know where they are, but we have to, some of that we can't share, but it is North America based.
Oh, right here. Another question?
In order to create those packages, do you use any data mining techniques? Figure out what packages would make sense for what demographics?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we use data mining techniques for that. What we do is we look at reports based on what packages are being purchased. We also look at packages that are being created, and we do watch a little bit of the traffic, even if people don't buy. So what we're using, we have Test and Target that's running behind the scenes for us to help us as well, so we can see people coming in from different angles. So in that sense, we're using data mining. I would just use that term loosely. We'll look in, we'll see 1,000 people. We thought that today or this week we would sell 5,000 of, let's pick on For Fun, but we actually didn't. We sold retail therapy. We sold thousands of those more than we expected. So that would be a feed for us. Also on the build your own bundle where you can make a custom feature, we might think that everybody's going to go crazy for the Toys R Us gift card, but lo and behold, they go crazy for Starbucks. And we would see that. It's not necessarily data mining because the reports just spit out real time for it. And we can see clearly, you might want to put this in a different package and mix it. One thing that we do look at, which does require a little bit more analytics, is the lifetime value of the customer based on the choices they make. We pay different amounts for each of the different products. So we can't say just choose your own and put any product in there you want. We have to provide a certain mix so that it's still profitable to AOL.
I think you answered my question with the analytics part of it.
Okay.
But do you guys use any sort of search engine optimization or anything of that sort? It's just probably a
For finding, gather, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah, there are efforts. I can't speak to them in too much detail, not because I don't want to, because if I did, I would misspeak. Right. We are looking at ways from a marketing and acquisition perspective. So between SEO, sites on which we will put ads, how we actually target within the AOL properties as well. We have if you go to AOL.com, you'll see an ad in the front of each page, like 25 different either news stories or ads, et cetera, and we'll place product there as well.
Thank you.
Hey, for images on the site, different size devices, different resolutions, do you guys have a strategy you use for that?
Yeah, and actually I think Div and I can talk to some of that too. We do store all the images in a CDN, so they're pulled down based on the template that we're using for that device. So the images in that case would be rendered appropriately for the actual package or how we're transmitting it over. We are trying to be conscious of the images that we would have. One thing that we did run into is because packages and the actual data on here, if you look, you'll see it says like save 64%. That can differ, but a lot of the content will be the same. And so we're using, we modified a bit of Magento to allow us to dynamically change some of the content. Some of it is images, some of it will be overlays.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Other question in the back, and then I think let's get back to socializing.
Socializing.
I think when you said Magento, you kind of answered one of my questions. So what was your timeline between coming up with this idea and launch? And do you guys plan, and since this is obviously a web app, are you guys planning native applications for this? Or you guys?
Great question. I actually kind of feel like you were seated by some other people in AOL. They're like, how long is it going to take you?
Shill.
So, idea to being live is a tougher question to answer. We'll have a drink. I can tell you, find me after. I'll tell you that. But in the current rendition, it was it took us several months to build and go live. We've talked about a native app. For us, the only reason we would go truly native would be when we have brick and mortar products within the actual bundles. Because today, you can have a native app. There's a lot of development work that would go in for something that you wouldn't necessarily be using constantly. We talked about it from a marketing perspective too, have the app come in, but we haven't really gelled on a strategy for that yet.
Okay, so we got one more announcement that we're going to make. Coming up, we've got a maker fair this weekend. We're going to give you a preview of it. Thank you, Gil. Let's give it up for him.
Does everybody know what a maker fair is? Does anybody not know what a maker fair is? Okay. People make things. They make robots, they make flying drones, they make 3D printers, make apps. There's going to be a fair this weekend, which is in Reston.
Got it.
Got it? Good. And we've got 85 demonstrators. We're going to have a robot area, and a flying drone area, and lots of other things. I'm one of the presenters there. And unfortunately, this one costs. A lot of them are free. And I'd like to invite everybody out. There'll be people making costumes. There'll be people making jewelry. There'll be people doing Arduino projects, which is fiber processing. How much does it cost? This one, if you do it online, it's $15. If you do it at the door, it's $20. Kids are reduced. It's $5 online, $8 at the door. We originally were trying to limit this to 2,000 people, and we signed up about that many in the first week or so. So we've gone out and hired a bus, and we're now parking at the Herndon parking lot, parking garage, and we have free, the tickets pay for it, right? Free bus rides. The school does not have enough space for all the cars. Next year we're planning on using the Patriot Center over at George Mason. We already know we're going to be that big. And hopefully next year some of you would like to demonstrate, because demonstrators get in for free.
Looks very cool. Thanks for sharing.
I think it's going to be great.
I think so too. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. And $15 is negligible. That's okay. It costs a lot of money to put these things on. So.
Yeah. We're still looking for sponsors to cover additional costs.
Hey, AOL.
If AOL wants to, talk to me.
That's cool. I got one other just quick announcement before we go. We've seen Jan. I want to recognize Jan. Jan just joined the ModevUX team. She's be our head of developer evangelism. Jan, welcome. Let's give her a big round of applause. Started a week ago. She already went to South by Southwest and to Denver and Boulder, Colorado to do some scouting out for some hackathon locations that we're doing. And, anyway, we're really excited to have her. So anyway, that's it. Let's